Hello and welcome to the 4Words podcast.
We need to redo that. Sorry, I wasn't ready.
Okay.
Like you were saying hi and I was like
great.
this.
Hi, welcome back to the 4Words podcast. It is Vanya and
Kate.
Kate. It's Kate. Today's podcast is super interesting. It's A, something not a lot of brand owners or employees have necessarily spoken about, and B, can't necessarily speak about. So we'll get there. Firstly, let's do some marketing updates in the marketing space,
What
social media
is
space.
happening here?
Let's chat, Catherine.
So a little TikTok came up on my feed. That's a lie. Oriana sent me a TikTok. Oriana sent me this TikTok. Basically, it was a video of Demi Lovato, and she was part of, I don't know how involved she was, but I'm just saying what I saw. I'm a delivery bird. Don't hold me to it. That they have just passed a law in California that protects child stars.
Yes,
Right?
and essentially their financial gains.
Yeah, which
from
is
being a
actually
child star.
such an interesting conversation. And before we hopped on, we were having a conversation about it, and I was asking a bunch of questions. And it's this concept of, obviously social media is massive. People sharing their life on social media is massive. You have people who have chosen to actually go down the route of being an influencer or a creator, whatever it might be, and they share lots of things. Enters a child to the situation, whether it be from birth, people document their pregnancies, document the childbirth, and then that child is part of their social presence from birth up until they can decide they don't want to be 18 or whatever it might be. Or it can be people that have sort of like introduced their children much further on, having, you get like the toddler fashion and stuff like that. There's lots of influencers and pages that focus on child clothing, or
It's like mommy culture. It's mommy
Yes.
content. It's how
what
do
do
you...
momfluencers? That's what you call them.
Momfluencers,
Yeah,
yes.
it's very much momfluencers that will like share their child's updates or whatever it might be, whether they are sportsmen or women. You get athletes, gymnasts, that type of thing,
100%.
that then their parents document their journey. And although as a youngster they might find it fun, at the end of the day, they're still a kid. So whether or not they want that and they want that lifestyle, they won't know until they are older. So yeah, I think it's a conversation to be had, but it's also incredible that now there's steps being taken so that when they do reach 18, they can benefit from their faces that have been all over the place since they were born or since whenever.
Yeah, and I mean, to give a little bit more context to the actual law, as far as I understand, it's whatever financial implications, financial gain, money that is made with that child's content, their face, their presence, whatever it may be. Hi,
Enter Jean Michael.
welcome back. We missed you. So as far as I understand, the law is mainly focused on the financial implications of being a child star. So it's something I'm not 100% clued up on in terms of the...
Let's get the definition of what a child star is.
Yeah, but I'm not 100% sure what the implications are of like the financial rights of money when it comes to a kid's content, a kid's face. But this law essentially means that those financial gains are protected until the child is the age of 18, because what happened with a lot of that first wave, if you think Disney stars, Nickelodeon stars, before social media stars were even really a thing, all of those kids, not all, I say that as an exaggeration, the vast majority of those kids suffered some form of financial theft from parental
So true,
figures,
actually.
from guardians, where they would reach the age of 18 and they actually had almost no financial backing to show all of their hard work throughout their entire childhood.
And I also think it's not even just about like the amount of money they didn't get, but it's also the fact that they never had the choice of how that money was going to be used.
100%.
So, for example, they would have been child stars that had parents or whatever that were like, okay, this is what we're going to do for that child with their
Yes.
money or whatever.
For example, invested in a property.
Exactly,
something like that.
exactly. But I think, it's a fantastic movement of putting some more controls in place to kind of
Protect kids.
and also to make sure that whatever happens in that period is that they're compensated for it later on.
Entitled to a job.
Yeah, and I made a joke earlier. It's actually not a joke, but like it's not even just about I worked for this money or I was part of making this money. Like I deserve financial gain. But if they were someone or a child that didn't want to be filmed or didn't want to be part of that, and they choose that at 18, the fact that they now have 18 years of their life where that was
Completely
documented that they
for
didn't
the world
want
to comment on.
there needs to be some sort of compensation for that. And I mean, money won't cut all of it, but it's somewhere to start.
It helps. But yeah, I think where we're going to see it be massively beneficial, and I would love to see how it carries through. Obviously, this is like child star focused, and because Demi Lovato was involved in passing the bill and then the law, it's very, like, the initial response is entertainment industry. But then if you look at it further down the line, do you know how many minors go viral on TikTok? People at the age of 14, 15, 16 in the States go viral everywhere in the world.
I mean, if you just look at how, like, the earlier the age is getting on to socials, like there's people that are on socials much sooner now than it was back then. So the chances of them making impact, going viral, or earning money is much greater. And there are lots of child stars as well that cause their own fame. It's
100%.
not. It's definitely not always like caused
by viralness.
or by a parent, is what I'm trying to say. So like there are young children on social accounts that are creating fantastic content and good content that then go viral, but they might not be of the age yet to understand how to work with that money or 100%. How to best invest that money so that they are set up for the future, whatever it might
100%.
be. And I'm sure that the law will cover that too.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I'm super keen to see how it will protect kids. It makes me really happy.
Yeah.
So that was a really wholesome marketing update.
I think it's cool.
Segueing.
Yeah.
Let's hop on over to Europe, particularly Spain. Catherine, let's have a chat about the recent trip you took to Europe.
Can I be honest?
Go for it. Honesty is the best policy.
We spoke earlier about, where we've been focusing our time and like the people and all of that. And I think it was such a big shock to me. And this podcast topic was prompted by me because it was such a, oh my goodness moment. And I think it does stem down to having the right people in the right positions within the company. I think I had planned to take a break or some sort of break this year, and then the opportunity of going to Spain came up, and I was like 100% I'm doing it, whatever. So I mean, it wasn't even really a conversation between you and I. It wasn't like, oh, can I take 2 weeks leave? It was like, I'm going to Spain and you're taking 2 weeks leave, so it came a lot quicker than I thought. And I mean, it was a week before I was leaving, and it was kind of like okay, Vance, I'm going to be gone for 2 weeks. Like, is everything going to fall apart? That's genuinely what was happening in my head. I was like,
and it's the normal, like, defaulted fear.
100%. And then it got closer and closer to the time, and then I left, and then I did take my laptop with me with the full intention of having to work, because that is how it has been in the past. I mean, there have been Decembers where we've worked through full Decembers, Christmas, New Year's, 100%. Whole shebang, and I think it's so beautiful to finally be at a stage where I took 2 weeks leave, and although it was a thing of prioritization and I've come back to stuff I still need to do, I was able to. And I think I came back with this deep appreciation for the skill set that my team has and that they've specialized in. I think the agency model as well, it can be so collaborative that you can't do anything on your own, or it can be beautifully collaborative that everyone can function without a missing link,
100%.
So I think took me out of the picture, and the company just operated still so beautifully, and it was such a proud moment to like look from the shores of Palma, sipping a pina colada. I was lying there with my toes in the sand, sipping some sangria, and I looked at my phone and I said, my baby's flourishing without me. And it was a very proud moment.
Yeah, I think that for me that was also a massive realization, because ultimately when it comes down to having your own company, it is one of the biggest flexes to know that you can step back, can take a break for 2 weeks. Even if you went to the North Pole and you took your laptop, but there was no cell reception. The thing that we've built, the company that is sustaining itself, like, it will be there when you come back.
Yeah.
Like, you've built something strong enough. Oh my God. Okay, well, let's go.
Okay, recording.
What happened? The shock.
Yeah, ek het my vinger
What I was gonna say is something we can't take for granted is that there are two of us. Like,
yes.
I'm literally the whole of the Spain trip, the entirety of our conversation was, Vanya, I feel bad. And then she would be like, don't feel bad. and then I would go have another sangria. You know, like, that was the cycle.
Would go, Vanya, I feel bad. I'm like, don't feel bad. That's dumb. Enjoy yourself. You're like, okay. And then that conversation will repeat every day.
Pretty much.
Multiple times a day sometimes.
I think, honestly, if it was just one of us and this was my company and it was just me alone, I think it becomes much harder because not only there's no one to leave behind to be like, hey guys, she's got it under control. It's just like you do feel like you're walking away and leaving your team in the dark.
Yeah.
But that being said, I do feel, and I know our entire team standing behind the camera, I love that. What I was gonna say is that you guys would be completely capable of functioning if Vanya and I were both gone. And I think it's because of the speciality, and that is what we've been talking about in the sense of like, if you have the right people in the right places, they know what they're supposed to be doing, they're bought into the idea, so it becomes a lot more flexible. I think from my side, the fact that I was able to take 2 weeks, enjoy those 2 weeks, and return to like flowers. You know?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I think what was really important for me as well, and I think that's like bigger picture, what a lot of companies should get a lot better at is recognizing the importance of leave, and like especially in the creative space.
Yeah.
The thing that made me happiest was the second that you started like traveling home.
Oh
boarding
my
flights and
days,
stuff.
guys, you have no idea. I was frothing.
Yeah.
She
was like,
I landed
I'm so well rested.
I wasn't well
so
rested.
Many ideas.
It was
She wasn't
completely
well rested.
delulu.
It was a complete lie.
So basically what happened was, on my flight home, I was like, even the day before I had started like working and like responding to emails, I was like itching to get back into it, because you know you hit that point in a holiday when it's been like, it's usually that 2 week mark, and then you're like, my routine, like I had that because I liked it, like so for me it was work related. I was like, I was seeing content going out that we produced, and I'm like, that's so good. I'm seeing my team creating content without me, and I was like, I have FOMO.
I'm so excited to be home.
But take the flight home. I landed, caught an Uber home, I showered, I landed at 10, showered, I was in a pitch meeting with Vanya by 12, and we did a good job.
Landed the client.
So that was what happened. Then I left and did a full day of work, went to dinner that night, got into bed at like 10:30, and I was finished. But then woke up the next morning, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed, and was ready to work. So
I'm feeling creatively reset.
And I can honestly say I don't think I've been that excited to come back in such a long time. Well, because I haven't left. But it's like that whole thing of distance makes the heart go fonder. Like I needed 2 weeks in Spain.
Yeah.
I need 2 more weeks in Spain.
I
But
also need 2 weeks in Spain. Maybe Italy. Take a loop around the Dolomites and shit.
But I do think like that they say that for creatives, it is so how do you put it? A new experience is like crack for a creative, because the more times you're put in an environment where you have to think about new things and it's not the way it's always been, you literally, as a creative, you absorb it and you want to replicate it in other places. So for example, not only did I go to Spain, but I also went to Ibiza and land in Ibiza. Land in Ibiza, and the way that the marketing happens there and the production was absolutely so overwhelming to me. That
you literally, as you landed, sent us a video saying, guys, all the billboards are promoting like parties. There's no ads.
There's no ads. There's no brands anywhere. It's just parties. So I think the way that you as a creative consume information and environment, it's such an important thing to stimulate outside of your day-to-day work for your clients, for your team members, because you bring that inspiration back and then you want to try replicate it or whatever. So I think it's not only the importance of taking a break physically, you know, for your physical well-being, but also
your creative
to put yourself
energy
in new environments, to find new things, to find new ideas. How are these things being done in Europe? How can we replicate that back here? So that's all.
Love that. I'm super glad you had a good trip though.
Thanks.
The photos, the content, John Michael will work his magic and will include some of Kate's photos.
I cast motion.
That was amazing. It was really, really beautiful.
I'm so glad. Now, moving into Foresight.
Yeah.
The segment where we predict future I told you so's. Because as a team of Gen Zs, there is no sweeter revenge than saying I told you so in a couple months.
I made that prediction. I knew this was going to happen.
Especially if you have documented proof. So today's prediction is from Catherine.
Yeah.
What is it?
So, obviously not everybody, but
Everybody.
We know of CapCut.
Everybody.
Ariana knows CapCut. Ariana and CapCut are like this. But yeah, I think in the social media space, CapCut has exploded, especially because of the amazing integrations it's had with TikTok. You know, I think it started out being able to replicate really sick templates. You could hop onto TikTok and then you were like, okay, I want to replicate this template, and it would basically edit it for you. Yeah. And then people were like, what is this CapCut thing? You know, what do we do with it outside of replicating cool templates? Enters CapCut's features and all of that, and it's kind of been optimized to just have really great social edits, but obviously also long form edits and blah blah blah. And I think that integration between TikTok and CapCut was massive. I think because TikTok boomed and then CapCut collaborated, and then it was this complete synchronization of target audience.
Yeah, and
like
it was almost like bridged the gap between people who are on TikTok and wanted to create content but didn't know how, and then here's a platform built into TikTok that you can literally click a button
100%.
and fulfill a
and
creative
it's
vision.
the trending audios. It's you know it's the aesthetic fonts that is pulled through.
It's
and
actually good content.
Yeah, and as social media managers, like we're always trying to replicate aesthetics, and I think as soon as something can help us do it, it's like, you know, besties. Yeah. So my prediction, and I'll expand on this, is that CapCut and TikTok are obviously like this. Instagram and Canva will be like this. I think that Canva has recently launched such amazing AI integrations. I mean, their latest updates have honestly blown me away. Every time, I actually can't keep up with it. There's so much you can do with it that it overwhelms me. If I go into that newly released app side, I'm like, gosh, I can do a lot more than I thought I could. But they're also heading into the paid ad side, for example. They've integrated a lot of AI tools that can help you create paid ad dimensions for Meta or wherever you're pushing ads. And I think that there's going to be more and more integrations into Canva, and I think that Instagram or Meta is going to add integrations into Canva. The video editor for Canva is also being improved time and time again. I mean, there's this one integration now where you can personalize, it's a text box, and you explain what type of music you want, and AI generates a non-copyright music for you to utilize in that video or whatever it might be. You can do voiceovers, you can do talking heads. So yeah, I think
there's very little you can't do nowadays.
Exactly. And what's also happened is that Canva's been really beautifully integrated into ChatGPT. So on ChatGPT, you can go in and actually explain what type of presentation you want, upload your company profile, explain that you want a presentation generated for XYZ, and ChatGPT will spit it out. So I think the prediction's twofold. I think it's going to be like Canva and Meta, and there's going to be more links there than there already are, because obviously there are some integrations. But I think the question or the topic is kind of just like, who's going to integrate?
When?
Who's going to integrate, and when, and why, and for what, and how will that benefit us? Yeah.
And how? All those question words.
So
I have a question though.
Yeah.
Obviously, I think that's a fucking exceptional prediction. And I would be very disappointed in Meta if they don't think about that before we do. But when do you think they would announce something like that? Give me a date. Let's make foresight serious. Let's hold each other accountable on dates.
Oh my days, okay.
Not like, you don't have to say like 17th of June.
Sure, okay. So there are some integrations currently that Canva has that talks to Instagram or Meta or whatever it might be. They have just done a massive launch, right? That whole thing where we opened our Canva and then we had to wait for 40 minutes because it was
like
sending us through a
Sims
tunnel.
intro.
Loved the graphics, loved the idea. But when you have shit to design, like, get me through the tunnel. You know what I mean?
You know, especially if you're watching it on different profiles
and
different apps.
I opened it on my phone and I went through the tunnel. I opened it on my computer, went through the tunnel.
I was like, guys,
and on a
this is
bad day, I
great
was like,
generated
I
tunnel,
feel
but-
delulu. I was standing there like, oh.
It's like, this is making me not like Canva.
So I don't think they're going to do any like massive launches anytime soon.
Yeah.
It's either going to happen one of two ways. There's going to be slow like expansions of what they've released. So for example, that paid ads thing, maybe they're going to link to Meta and you're going to be able to like push your paid ads directly or the graphics directly through to Meta or whatever it might be. Or it is going to be another launch in, say, I would give it like 4 months.
4 months.
4 months. I would give it 4
That
months.
is Jan 2025.
Jan 2025. If not Canva and Meta, something.
And Canva.
And Canva, or something, and Instagram. I think Instagram's really trying to keep their editor updated, but it's kind of going the other way. So I think that they're going to integrate or collaborate with a video editor or something like that.
Interesting.
Maybe it is Final Cut. Maybe it is, I don't know,
Spicy.
whatever it might be. But I think that there's going to be some sort of video editing integration
I'm
situation
going to
there.
absolutely love when we get to cut Kate saying that. to the announcement of one of those features.
Yeah.
I'm gonna love that.
Yeah.
It's gonna feel good. It's gonna
That's
taste
my
sweet.
prediction, guys. I also want to say that this podcast was all over the place because we started talking about child stars, then we went into taking leave, and now we're talking about integrations with Instagram. But
Marketing.
there was structure.
Yeah.
And
Segments.
we're posting a podcast, so be happy about it.
All right, guys. We hope you've enjoyed that episode. Make sure to like and comment, and make sure to check out our social media channels. And if you need anything in the marketing space and would like us to get involved to make
Let
an impact,
us know.
fulltime.co.za. Okay. Bye.